How's it going, folks? So today I'm going to be talking about the brand new album from the band Sede Vacante, and the name of this album is Conium. It just dropped today, but y'all know, before I get into that nitty-gritty, let's check out the cover. So boom, there it is. Take a look at that cover. Take a look at that. I dig it. I dig it. It looks really, really cool. I love there's like this flame up there and it's like dripping molten lava and whatnot down through the cracks of this dark and kind of desolate looking area. But it looks like it once was some kind of a shrine. Probably has seen better days. It's cool, kind of like emblem back in the background. I don't know, just the dark colors, the dark, like the grays, the dark blues, and then the striking yellow orange color of the flames and the molten lava coming down. Just looks really, really neat. Definitely draws the eye in there. And with the way they have their name styled up there at the top, it looks sick. It looks sick. It's the type of image that would make a great painting or something, up on a wall. It just looks really awesome and already sets the atmosphere and the mood for the album. It just, I dig it. And does it, the second question, does it give a good impression on what to expect? You're at the CD shop, you're flipping through CDs, you see this cover, you're like, huh, you never heard of this band before, but you're intrigued because it looks tight. So you grab it without listening to it, take it home, and press play. Will it shock you, or will it, kind of, do you already have a decent idea of what to expect? Because the cover, I would say so. I really think it does a good job of conveying the sound of the album just through the cover. So, really on all fronts, I dig it aesthetically, and I think it does a good job of giving you a good impression on what the album contains within the sound and all that stuff. So, yeah, A plus all around. I dig the cover. But let's talk about the album itself now. This bad boy's got 11 songs on here. Comes in at about 50 minutes. Now, the first song is only about like a minute or so. It's just kind of like an intro. Yeah, so all the songs come in around 4 to 5 minutes, roughly. Good length album. It goes by pretty quick, and you kind of want to just jump back in. As far as the sound on this here, ultimately it's like a symphonic metal, but it it has this darkness to it, a melancholy, kind of gothic, a smidge. But so it's more of your dark kind of symphonic metal, but it's also kind of moody but it's melodic, and there's a great usage of like the keyboards and whatnot. The guitar work here is really solid, heavy, not super duper heavy, but just the right amount of heavy in the tone with the guitars to provide an edge, to really kind of have somewhat of an aggression, but not too much of an aggression. It just helps kind of create this feeling for the rest of it just lends itself very well to the overall sound that this album has, which again is just kind of a dark symphonic metal that's heavy, but then also has moments that are moody and atmospheric and yeah, like melancholic. But there's some great melodies in there as well. So the guitars do a really good job of kind of just having that setting kind of the base of the sound, the structure, of the sound, and just creating that heaviness, creating a sense of foreboding at times. And yeah, it's like the riffs are really, really great. Sometimes they're hitting you really, really hard with these heavy riffs. Other times it's more melodic. You get some nice, intricate little solos and things here throughout, but it really kind of keeps the album, the momentum going of the album, the guitar work. and just drives it forward. And again, just really provides this nice sound. It's almost uh, like a metallic kind of sound, not Metallica, like a metallic, almost industrial kind of sound at times, and which again just really lends itself to the overall sound. That's one thing I'll say about this album too is it it has a very concise sound. It takes you into the world that they've kind of created through the album. In within the sound, just really through the guitars alone, but everything else just really contributes to it. So really solid guitar work on the heavier side. Great riffs, great melodies, and you get some nice little solos here and there, and some nice intricate little bits with the guitars. The keyboards are really, really great because there's a nice mix, which is really cool, which kind of helps add to the signature sound on this album, is because you get some great symphony sounds, some strings and stuff like that. But then you also get some like electronic sounds, like electronic beats and rhythms at times. Not like like dance floor rhythms, but like just electronic kind of tunes that kind of contributes to that metallic or industrial sort of sound. And it's just really, really great. The way it blends in with everything, nothing sounds out of place, and it really just contributes to the overall sound and just getting you in the headspace that they want you to be in. You can almost visualize some of these scenes or whatnot, or this world. And again, looking at the cover, it just suits it very, very well. Like once you've listened to the album and you look at that cover, it's like that really, you know, um, not necessarily like symbolizes, but it really uh, embodies the sound of the album. And so you can almost like picture that while you're listening to everything. And, there's a sense of hopelessness throughout some of the songs. There's a sense of, like I said, foreboding that's created, like with the atmosphere. But there's also moments that have lighter portions, or that aren't so like. And I'm not saying this is like just really down in the dumps, like depressing stuff. It's not, but it just has that kind of like a world that is somewhat desolate and dark, kind of like the cover shows. Just you kind of can picture the dark blues and gray, like gray sky, and the landscape is kind of desolate, ashen almost. And it's just really cool how they create that. And with the keyboard, just excellent job with that going between, like with like the electronic bits, you get some like piano portions, and then there's some symphonic elements on top of that that just make it really, really great. The drum work is really solid, and the bass and stuff as well. It just really kind of keeps in line with everything, and continues to help just craft this sound. And the vocals are phenomenal. I really, really enjoyed the vocals because I feel like this isn't a easy sound to kind of pull off, especially not like in like the symphonic metal kind of genre, because there's moments, which I'll touch on a little bit. There's moments where it dips almost into like doom, and then like kind of back. And so you have like this like doom slash melodic, not death metal, because it's not death metal whatsoever, but just kind of it with that sound. So there's like this doom, like melodic metal, deathish with the symphonic metal, and it just all creates this really cool atmosphere. And her voice just suits it very, very well. She has a really strong voice, and just is can move all over the place given what the song needs, or what the mood calls for. She's got a nice lower kind of register voice for those more like doomy, like gloomy kind of moments, but for like the melodic choruses and stuff, she can get up there and whatnot, and bring more of kind of like a lightness to the sound, which is awesome. And there's male vocals sprinkled throughout, just as it's this nice dynamic between the two. Again, it's not like all the time, but when it's there, it's always kind of like a nice surprise. It's it refreshes the sound a little bit. It adds to it. They didn't abuse that or anything like that. Everything feels very very particular the way that they put it all together, and I appreciate that. It's not like they just threw everything at it to see what stuck. They had a clear vision, and that's what they went with. So yeah, it starts out with the intro song Furia, which just kind of gets you in the mood, kind of sets the tone, and you know the one thing is there's clear highlights on this album. The whole album itself is solid. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it quite a bit, but there's clear highlights. It meanders a bit through their their true potential, and then more of just kind of some standard fare feeling kind of songs in between. But more often than not, they're really hitting like the peak, like this signature sound, and what really makes this album special. For instance, there's really two trifectas on this album, and what I mean is starting with track 4, Conium, through track 6, Paint It Black. Yes, that's a cover of the classic Rolling Stones. That is the first trifecta that really took me away, because tracks 2 and 3, they're solid, but it was like it didn't 100% just grab my attention right off the bat. But Conium was released as a single. It's a really great song. Again, it's just this atmospheric, almost kind of like a gloomy epic sort of, because it's got several movements throughout, and lots of different parts to it that really just feels like a journey. And that could be due in part with the music video on that song is pretty cool. It's like this animated thing, and it shows kind of someone going through this like wasteland or whatnot. But it's just this really really nice dynamic track, and then it goes into track 5, Raindrops, which this song has a really nice heavy sound to it, and especially when you get to like the bridge, the breakdown here in this song is sick. I just love it. It's this great like fusion of this like electronic with these heavy guitars, and oh man, when it hits, it just hits hard and heavy, and I was digging it. It hits a lot harder than Raindrops. I mean, these must be some massive raindrops that they're frozen and just slamming down on the ground, because it hits hard and heavy, and it's a great song. And then you get track 6, Paint It Black, which, like I said, is the cover of the Rolling Stones classic. And I have to say, with 99.99% certainty, this is the best cover of this song that I've ever heard in my entire life. And I've heard many covers. As you know, it's a classic song, so it's covered a lot. This cover is sick. So sick. And it fits in line with the sound of the rest of the album. It's one of the more doomy, I would say, kind of tracks, but it has kind of like, some lighter moments. But they really take their time with it and really created this like gothic, doomy kind of melodic metal sound with this song. And it was like unlike what I've ever heard before of a cover of this song. And I was like, this is incredible. It truly is not to be missed. Do not miss their cover of Paint It Black. And another thing I found fascinating is they dropped it in track 6. A lot of times bands will drop a cover at the end of the album, but no, they wove it in to the rest of the sound, and it fits beautifully, absolutely beautifully. It's so good that you kind of forget as you're listening to it that this is a cover of the Paint It Black, because it differentiates itself enough quite a bit, and also just fits the mood of the album very well, and just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So that's the first trifecta that I was just like, this is nuts. This really blew me away. And then track 7, Melancholy Bled, that's a good one too. Walk on a Lio is a little bit more, again, the not a bad song, but it's just, they hit up here with a lot of the album, and then so some of the songs just have more of like a standard kind of feel to them. They don't jump out quite as much. But the second trifecta is at the tail end, which is tracks 9 through 11, starting with The Bride, which is a really nice, heavy kind of song. Again, just this atmosphere that they created here in this album's tight. And then you get Wheel of Misfortune, which is just so cool. It got these string instrument parts that really add this kind of this dark whimsy to this, like this really just kind of gothic and dark symphonic metal that again the symphonic elements are used beautifully in this song, and it just gives it this feeling, this mood that's just like, oh man, that's just so tight. And then it all rounds out really solid with the last track, Tattoo, which it just, again, very moody, very kind of atmospheric, and has some like piano in there, and the vocals are just exquisite, and it just rounds out the album really well. So yeah, it's like there's like the two trifectas in there with some solid stuff in between, but those are like the pinnacles of the album in my opinion. So all in all, my thoughts on this bad boy is that I really enjoyed it quite a bit. Very solid album, and this band has really great potential. I believe this is only their second album here, and they're moving closer and closer toward like their sound, their signature sound, because there are bright shining moments of this contained on this album, and it's just like, oh man, as they continue to progress and grow and just refine that even more, I just really look forward to what this band continues to do in the future, because I really enjoyed this here. And like I said, they have this unique approach and sound to the symphonic metal genre, and do a really great job of creating this feeling, that as the listener, that you feel it, you feel this atmosphere, this like kind of world that they've created with the sound and the vocals and the melodies, and it's just really cool. So really solid. They're inching closer. They're so close to just reaching just that maximum potential, I think, here, because just it's just really great, and when it lands, like I said, especially within the two trifecta of songs, it just, oh, it's glorious. It's really glorious. So really solid. I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I really look forward to what they continue to do here, because they're onto something. They're onto something here. So yeah, as I said, the song really not to miss, I would say, is the Painted Black cover, because it really is that great. Really is that great, and like I want everybody to hear it and experience like their take on the song and how they really made it their own. And a good song to listen to get you, accustomed to the sound of the album. If you just want to listen to one song before you decide if you want to hear the whole thing, I'd go with one of the singles they released, which is Conium. I really think that embodies the sound and the mood of the whole album really well. But yeah, so I really do recommend this bad boy. Really solid. I was quite impressed, and yeah. So that's Sede Vacante with Conium. I look very much forward to seeing what they continue to do in the future, but I'm definitely going to be going back to this album from time to time, just because I enjoyed it that much. And yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you've listened to this album already, or you're already a fan of Sede Vacante. What do you think of the singles? Let's talk about it in the comments down below. Thanks so much for tuning in. Catch you next time, Ranger.